Or one, Delta One. I've been asked by 16 different people to make this video. I don't like making political videos. That's why I try to stay away from making those a lot. And I hadn't uploaded my motovlog videos again, which I'm in the process of working on those. But because I've been asked so many different times, and I've been asked by multiple people. Jesus Christ, why do I have the heat on? Let me see. There you go. It's about the stimulus package, the $1.9 trillion stimulus package. And I was asked what my opinion of it was, and what do I really feel about the Democrats and the Republicans with their all but 2 Democrats going yes and all Republicans going no. Well, as much as I don't want to reply to that, because it's only going to go only one way, anyone that finds my response negative is just going to call me a Republican heart and soul, not listening to the truth or facts. And anyone that thinks that I'm agreeing with it is just going to say I'm a far leftist that won't listen to facts or truth. That's one of the main reasons I don't like to do political stuff. But nonetheless, because so many people have asked me, I will actually answer that question. I have mixed feelings on it, not because of the number of Democrats and the number of Republicans that went with or against it. It's solely because this is what a lot of people have said, because I have posted on Twitter, because I was asked this as well. I was asked, they posted it, and I replied, well, if everyone would get their head out of their ass and stop paying attention to the $1,400 that you're going to get in the mail or get directly to your deposit, you would see what the reason was for all the Republicans and even 2 Democrats to say no to this bill. All right, it's the reason. All right, the $1,400 firstly is bullshit, first off, because of 2 reasons. One, that is not what Biden promised to get himself elected. He's already failed on that front. You cannot combine Trump's relief package that he had to sign with your relief package and call it $2,000. You can't take another administration's handout and apply it to your handout to say, I'm still giving you $2,000 because you've already received $600. It's not how that works. But firstly, that's a joke. You do have some of the funds, I think it was like $20 billion or something like that, going towards coronavirus relief plans, such as vaccinations, sites, equipment, such as that. And you have some educational stuff going in there as well. Now, you have to remember, it's a $1.9 trillion bill. Now, if I'm not mistaken, if you take the coronavirus bill and the bill that is in there for giving people, schools and everything money as well, that doesn't even amount to, at best, a little over half a trillion. Let's say we give it the benefit of the doubt and say 800 or so billion. Let's give it that. There's still 1 billion, not 1 billion. There's still 1 trillion left. Now you do have the fact that it's also going to places like, museums and things like that, federal locations. Now those, it's going to be a mix of saying that they shouldn't get that, they shouldn't, for upkeep. But you got to also remember those funds are also sent to employees that work there too. So you can't really tie that down as being against it. But you got to remember, a lot of this money also goes overseas. Now, one of the biggest reasons that the 2 Democrats and the Republicans didn't want it, one of them, is because most of this money, not some, most of the money does not go to the American people directly, the people that need it to help boost the economy, that get things back to going. It's not going to them. That's one of the reasons, and one of the biggest reasons of why. Like I was saying, giving people money to begin with and getting all of these other programs funded that directly impact the people, that directly impact putting money in people's pocket, such as like the museum upkeep. Even though it's mostly for the museum, some of that funds actually goes to keeping the employees there, which is why those are important. But you have some employees that aren't going to get this money because it's being sent, like for instance, you've got money being sent to programs that aren't even based for the U.S. citizens. You've got programs that are being sent across seas for humanitarian aid that we don't even support. A lot of that's going on. And that's what people are not fair. The one thing I really just want to get across to people that don't understand, there is absolutely no U.S. bill that is ever passed that does not negatively inflict some kind of emotional, financial, or in some cases physical harm, depending on how it's implemented to the American people. So if you look at this $1.9 trillion bill and you go, well, it's $1.9 trillion relief stimulus bill, that's what you're paying attention to, that it says relief bill. That's what you're paying attention to. You're not paying attention to the rest of it. And what you're not focusing on, this is a U.S. federal bill, which means that it is bipartisan, going to affect the American people in a negative way. You're paying attention to the positives, but you have to remember, because it's the U.S. government, federal bills always negatively affect the U.S. citizens, the American people. They always do. Whether it's on a small end or the big end, they always do. So if you look at a bill and go, oh, this bill is absolutely fantastic, this is great. If you look at that and that's all you have to say about that bill, you have not read that bill through. Because there is absolutely no way that any bill is going to be 100% for the people. It's going to be, if it looks like it's 100% for the people, there's some really deep backdoor stuff going on. Always. There's never going to be a positive outlook on a bill that looks like it's 100% for the people. Because if it was 100% for the people, it would have been passed a long time ago. And the reason for this, the reason I say this is anyone that has any common sense will agree with this. No matter if you're Democrat, Republican, or independent, doesn't matter. You will agree with this. There has been on both sides, Republican and Democrats, where they will slide in other bills into the main bill in order to get something passed. So, for instance, in this bill, if they wanted to slide that $15 minimum wage into that bill, they could have. They probably actually already tried to do that previously, which may have been one of the reasons why it was kicked back. But this happens quite often. And what really needs to happen is that they need to actually get off their asses and trying to be like throw everything all in at once. And they need to pass or reevaluate every single thing that they actually are going to try to pass, instead of, okay, here's 12 bills and it's all going to be part of this main bill and we're going to pass this main bill. And a lot of the people that vote no, or that's against something that everybody wants, or votes yes against something everybody wants, have probably read through at least some of what they have in the bill. Because the bill that everyone's sharing around on the internet has like 500 and something pages to it. You're not going to tell me that any congressman or congresswoman goes through 529 pages at any given point in time to pass a bill. You're not going to tell me that. You're not going to. Because if you did, you would notice that there would be more Democrats that voted no, and you'll have more Republicans that would have voted yes, if they would have read it completely. You wouldn't have a full, almost a full side voting yes and an entire full side voting no. You will have a dividend decided. You're literally the $1.9 trillion relief bill was literally politically based. If you ever have a full sighting on one side and basically a full sighting on the other, it's politically based. If you have if you have, for instance, if you think about Trump's impeachment, where it was mixed, you had some Republicans, you had some Democrats that, now I'm not talking about up to the Senate part, I'm talking about down the bottom where it was mixed and matched. Each one had a different reason of why they didn't want to impeach Trump. Each one had a different reason why they wanted to impeach Trump. And then when you got to the Senate floor, it was practically all Democrats voted impeach him. And I think it was 7 Republicans that voted to impeach him. When that happens, that is a politically motivated vote on something. Now, down at the House, it was still politically motivated, but it was less obvious. But when you got up there to the top, it was obvious that it's politically motivated. Just like this relief bill. It's politically motivated. And when people stop trying to read the headlines and look for what they read in the headlines in the actual story, they'll see what it is that they need to be focusing on. Literally, the government is about see what I have in my left hand, but don't look at what's in my right. That's literally what it's about. And you're looking at what you get out of the bill, but you're not looking at what the bill will do to you. And when people start realizing that, it's not going to be partisan of who's a Democrat, who's a Republican, who's independent. It's not going to be about that. It's not going to be about who's white, who's black, who's Asian, who's Hispanic. It's not going to be about that. It's going to be about what's right for us. And that's what that's about. But I ran it long enough. I'm ready to go inside. It's about to rain. I don't want to be out here. Peace.